Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. So I was browsing through Slate's website and doing their personalization. And at first, this website was kind of confusing to me, so I didn't understand it. After playing around with it a little bit, it makes more sense. And I was going to rail about how it was so poorly done and how I think that they should have done their website a little better. But after using it for a little while, I think it makes sense. There's probably ways to make it better, but I don't have great ideas on how to make it better. But let's go through it and I'll tell you what parts confused me. All right, so first of all, I like this part here where it has like a 3D method of doing it. You can zoom in and zoom out and rotate the thing around. That's pretty slick. Um, and it has this area called starter packs. And along here, they have a bunch of pre-built slates of all different kinds with different colors and decals and options and stuff. So you can start off with any of these and kind of modify it from there. And then I think you can just keep modifying this. However, if you want to start from the beginning, so this is the blank slate, which I'm assuming would be the lowest priced option with nothing. But actually, I'm wondering if there's even a lower price option because the first thing that confused me was these little numbers underneath here. And I was like, what do these numbers mean? And and then I realized it means how many options are under that option. So if you push this, you get another thing of options. But why would there be just one option? Why would there be another nest if there's only one option? But I guess if you can click this, there is a no door option here. So I'm guessing this must be the even cheaper version. Maybe this is the under $20,000 version. And if you want doors, you got to pay extra. And I wonder how much extra doors are. So much of this vehicle, I think so much of this vehicle's value proposition is in its price. And so um, I just really wonder what they mean when they say 20,000. Is no doors actually cheaper than the 20,000 that they talked about, or is the $20,000 one with no doors? That's what I don't understand. Okay, so definitely I think people need doors. So what I would get if I was building one right now, depending on the price, obviously, is I would want the SUV kit. And the SUV kit, you can you can presumably turn it from a truck to an SUV and back yourself at home. And I don't know how difficult that is. I'm thinking if that's something that just takes maybe an hour or two, that's probably worth it. If it's something that takes like half a day or a whole day to do, it's probably not too many people are going to want to change it back and forth. And if you pick underneath here, it's kind of interesting. You can pick this option. So this option would be just the roll cage without the cover. Um, and then there's a no door option. So you can, this is like kind of a safari vehicle kind of. And you put the doors back on and then you can put the back cover on. So the SUV kit consists of, looks like a bench seat in the back, this roll cage, plus the exterior cover. That's like the full SUV kit. So I'm curious how much that's going to cost extra. Is it going to be like $5,000 extra? Is it going to be $10,000 extra? I think $10,000 extra would be kind of crazy. A couple of $1,000s seems reasonable for that, but I don't know. So then you click out of that, and then it shows that you have this thing, and then you can do the color wrap. I don't actually care what color my vehicle is. That's like the least important thing for me. There's a bunch of decals you can put on there. Those are probably really cheap things that you can do. And then these things, I wondered what those numbers were. Then after playing around with it more, I realized that's how many options there are. Then there's all these exterior options, and it's like in order to do this, you have to do this. You have to do the bumper upgrade in order to do the tire upgrade. So there's some of these have dependencies. Like if you're like compiling programs in Linux or something, there's dependencies. Like it depends on something else happening. Um, and there's like roof rack. one of the options that I wish they had, honestly, is I kind of wish there was an option for a bench seat in the front. That would be very retro. I remember like the small like Mazda B 2200s or Datsuns back in the 80s had bench seats in the front. And I think that would be a real throwback. And there is a little bit of utility since you can, the center console is an optional thing. Would be nice to have a bench seat as an option, but maybe that adds too much complexity. This is another thing I kind of wish Aptera would do is they use just plain steel rims as their base option, which I think is kind of nice. And I think that's their only option. They're all steel rims. I don't think any of these are alloy rims. I think these are just covers on the tire. Um, yeah, if you get this, these are just oh well, no, I guess they are alloy wheels. Okay, so there's an alloy wheel option, and then the plain steel rim option, which I like. And I think Aptera, I don't know how much money a steel rim would save them, but there's kind of no reason to have an alloy rim on the Aptera since the wheels are completely covered and there's no cosmetic advantage to it. You know, alloy wheels look better, um, but but if they're going to be completely covered by wheel covers, like in the Aptera, like what does it matter what how they look? I think Aptera should have just gone with the cheapest thing. That would have been, I think, a cost saving measure that I don't think anyone would have cared about. Various lighting. This interior part was very confusing to me because when I clicked on it, it automatically clicked this, and I was like, what does that do exactly? And so that's the center console, and you can change the center console colors. I mean, I guess if I'm not getting a bench seat, I would want a center console. And they have options for. I thought that there was no option for electric power windows, but there is. There is a power window option. And I saw it someplace. I think it was under doors and windows. No, that's the shoulder. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the power window kit. But I don't want power windows. Uh, these crank windows are fine. How often do I roll down a window? Very, very rarely. And I can use my arm. It works. And then you can change things on the dashboard. I don't really care. Platelets, no, don't want to pay for that. Audio and tech, no, don't need anything. That's fine. I can bring a Bluetooth speaker. That's not a problem. So then when you're done, you get the summary and it shows you, okay, see, I don't even know when this lift kit came into the picture. Yeah, I don't want that. I would just get this, an SUV kit and the center console. And if they had a front bench seat, that'd be awesome. I would love the front bench seat and get rid of the console. I guess if I'm paying more for it, I wouldn't pay more for it. But if it was cheaper, I would do it. Maybe you could just put this back bench seat right in here. I think as an SUV, it looks a lot better, but in its truck format, it just looks weird to me. And I think it looks weird to me because the cab is almost in the center of the vehicle. And I know this is how it was, back in the 80s and 90s. But I'm just used to seeing trucks with a little bit less hood. So I think if this was pulled forward a little bit more and had a longer bed, in my opinion, that would have been better. And also, I do wish they would have made it a little more aerodynamic. I don't think that would have made it more expensive unless they made the shape really exotic. But to make it just a little more aerodynamic, I think would not have made it any more expensive to build. And that's, it's purely for aesthetics that they're doing this, which I guess that's what they're doing. They don't really they obviously don't care about efficiency. The efficiency, if you calculate their battery pack and their estimated range, it's like less than 3 miles per kilowatt hour. That's honestly not great. It's getting close to those full size truck EVs. Like it's almost similar to a Rivian efficiency. I For something this small, that's not very impressive. So I guess that is a drawback of this. But I do wish that they would have worked on making it just a little more aerodynamic, which I think would have been no additional cost. Now making it lighter, maybe that definitely would have made it cost more because of materials. Making lighter materials, maybe aluminum and instead of steel, would have made it significantly um, more expensive. But anyways, for a while I found their website really confusing. All these little numbers in here, I had no idea what they were talking about. And then going in here and changing the interior, it automatically picks this instead of defaulting to this. So I thought that maybe this is the default option, but it's not. This is the default option. And then when you click on this, um, you can see it change, which is kind of cool. All right. So anyway, that would be this would be the one I would buy, would be the SUV kit with the center console, and that's it. And that depends on how much it would cost. And if the SUV kit is too much, because I really like the whole thing about having a truck that you can turn into an SUV. And initially, Tello also had that, and I don't know if that's still their plan. And if Tello had a plan to make it become a 3-row SUV, I think then the value proposition swings in favor of the Tello for me, because at that point, Tello is a much more full featured vehicle, and having it be a 7-seater with 3 rows makes it pretty useful as a utility vehicle to move 7 people around, 6 or 7. That makes it much more useful, and it might be worth the extra $10,000 at that point over a Slate. All right, but interesting times ahead. I'm very curious to see if they're going to hit their timeline. They say they're going to deliver late 2026. I find that highly, highly unlikely. But if they're able to do it, I will be seriously impressed. Now, they do seem like the finances are not as big of a problem for them. They've been kind of well funded up front. But even with good funding, meeting timelines is very difficult, as evidenced by Rivian and Lucid. All right. Well, let me know what you guys think of this website. Did you find it confusing like I did, or am I just too dumb to use this website correctly? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, guys.